The line before our Rx department opens. Am I the only one who seriously hates the people that line up 30 minutes before opening? Doesn't anyone have anything better to do? We aren't going to open early, so why? Good thing the elves filled their clonopins during the night. This, and I get it, you just came from urgent care. But also, we opened up 5 minutes ago. Like, do the math. Why would the RX be ready right now? And I started telling the patients to their faces. The doctor is probably busy and didn't have time to fax it over yet. There were patients before and after your visit. I get it. It's 2 people I'm sure of. Brought attention to lead. What gets me is not putting up mix or refrigerator when done filling. We've lost a number of fridge scripts from them being put in large bins. And half the time not even correct letter. Like WTF, you should have learned the alphabet and counting by 1st grade at least. Leads will beg me to take front. Do bags that are falling it's so full. Then RTS while doing pickup. And oddly bags are done in less than an hour while still doing front. And wonder if I'm magical. But after 2 maybe 3 hours I moved and almost weekly explain my system to usually one of 2 techs. Sad thing is both are in early 20s. I'm too close to 50 to admit yet and disabled, and I can get more done in 2-3 hours than they can in 5+ hours. But they will nag and beg to do production and will usually get that 2-3 hours I'm doing front then they get pickup. Leads I know have mentioned to them get the hang of this and put forth same effort as you do at production. Would not surprise me if 2 are gone within 3 months. I feel for ya. Fingers crossed it improves. I slowly walk in and say good morning, how's everyone? We'll start it this morning. Please enjoy the sounds of my people. I have a background in service and finance. These people can't hurt me. Finance is hard. These are oversized toddlers at most. I hear a lot of complaining about patient behavior. As a pharmacist, it is our responsibility to create a patient experience and set expectations. We do this one patient, one interaction at a time. I spend a lot of energy explaining calmly and in simple terms how things work. I don't play any blame games. That only serves to perpetuate the discontent. Over time, your patients become less stressed, and you enjoy your job more because interactions become more pleasant with proper expectations on both sides of the counter. Lining up early is fine. They want to be number 1. Woo, first. But, for real, what gets me is every single time I need to say, I'm clocking in. Just a moment. Or, we just opened. I need to sign on. Or, I don't have a register yet. And someone makes a snarky comment. Why don't you do this earlier? You gonna pay me for that? CVS isn't. Here in Ontario we have to get a new RX almost every day for methadone. Our pharmacy opened an hour before the methadone clinic did. What a nightmare. About a dozen twitchy people waiting for me to get the fax every morning, and God forbid if the dose was cancelled or lowered. I hated every single morning and used to get sick out back before I went in every day. I get frustrated when I am opening up and they are talking crap about me loudly among themselves about the wait, when we still aren't going to be open for another 10 minutes. I can't just start serving them early where I work, and I arrive early myself to get set up quickly to serve them right upon opening, saying things like she's sure taking her good old time. What is she doing back there? Or I've been standing here for 15 minutes already, and pacing the counter and waving their arms. About feels defeating, since we aren't even opened and I'm already being criticized. You can clearly see I'm putting the cash box into the drawer and opening the registers and turning in the computers. They also get there so early and their medications are still in. Then they get more angry that they have to wait for them to be filled. We have an app, texting, an automated phone call service to let people know when their medications will be ready. People would rather show up and be mad. Seconding this, I obviously don't know about your pharmacy, Opus, but the pharmacy I used to go to would get slammed around the afternoon and the evening. I'm talking 1.5 minutes, 2 hours wait in the drive-thru. If someone was foolish enough to try that, I was foolish enough to do that multiple times before I realized the wait was not a one-time issue. If that situation is kinda similar to your pharmacy, then I could picture customers waiting before open rather than coming by later. My favorites were the ones who regularly came early. Why? They had to have known when we open. It was the same time every day except Sunday. It's not like there's a run on the medications, and if they didn't get in early, they wouldn't get the good ones. Never really made me mad, just one of those things we always were confused by. I'm not in retail anymore, but I didn't mind when they got there early, only when they complained and thought them arriving early meant I had to go faster, like they deserve a prize. Yep, I've had someone show up on the weekend, where we open, an hour later than normal, and they complained that they've been there since 8 a.m. Face with rolling eyes, those people, and also the ones who show up 5 minutes before closing expecting us to stay late to fill their scripts that got put back because they didn't come pick them up in time. How about a customer that calls to complain before opening? I get to work about 30 minutes before the store opens. At 15 till opening, a customer called the front end and spoke to a manager requesting to speak to the pharmacy manager, because they had a long question and didn't want to wait on hold after we opened. The SM then asked me if I would help this customer before we open. I said no. Was she pissed I didn't answer her call? Yes, her complaint. She was dispensed a 15 milliliters bottle of eye drops instead of a 5 milliliters bottle. Yesterday I waited in a long line only to discover that my prescription would be another 30 minutes. Did I throw a fit and declare that I would perish without my antibiotic? No, I did not. I told them no worries, I would come back tomorrow. Do I have a job and a life and a lot of things to do? Yes, but I also have basic human decency, and me throwing a fit would slow things down for myself and everyone else, and stress out already stressed employees. Honestly, the most annoying part of the wait for me was listening to everyone in line complaining. Most the second they set foot in line. Calm your tits, Karen, you have been waiting for 30 seconds so far. Before I discovered the glory that was courier services, I would be there at opening because I wanted to go home and get to bed. 9:05 MF for my pharmacy, and I like to be in bed by 9 and generally wake up at 5. Thankfully, we've got a courier service in town now that allows scheduling things. So I just Venmo them $15 and ask them to bring it to my wife's work or to me after I wake up in the evenings. I really confused a patient once. The patient dropped off a prescription right as we were closing at 9 p.m. It wasn't anything life-threatening, but he did want it soon. I apologized, saying that we were closing and I would do it first thing the next morning. Well, the next morning he is in line, and as soon as the gates are up he asked if it was ready. I said, "Sir, it has been 1 minute since you dropped it off. We have not had time to process your prescription yet." So much confusion at that statement. I was happy the next 13 hours after that conversation. Okay, not really happy, but in better spirits at least. MHM, and they have the attitude. One woman told me her doctor didn't know what he was doing because he was from a different country and was prescribing medicine that didn't exist for people in the real world. And another came back and threw her Saxenda through the window because it didn't come with needles inside the box. Apparently that was my fault because I checked her out at the register. It doesn't come with needles. Her doctor should have known to prescribe her some for the first time. On Saturday mornings, I typically have 3 minutes 4 cars in the parking lot waiting for me. I flick the lights and boom ... Is my script ready yet? Very frustrating way to start the day. Thank you. I said the same thing. Yes, people selling pills was bad, but maybe work on the buying end of it instead of cutting off everyone, including people with a genuine need, who then started taking street drugs for the first time in their lives. I was just thinking yesterday about what might happen if we just legalized everything. No RX is required, but maybe DL required, and a limit on total purchases like we have for Og Sudave. We'd have no worries about anyone diverting their RX because people could buy what they wanted themselves. No more money spent worrying about drug smuggling mules and tunnels, boats, planes sneaking in with drugs to sell. Central and South American cartels would no longer have money to buy weapons and indiscriminately murder people that got in the way. Inner city and suburban drug dealers would see their customers evaporate. Yes, we would still have people who odd, but we could tax the sales and generate enough money to help treat the cause of the ODs. Trauma that makes people turn to drugs because it's better than facing reality. A girl can dream. When my old pharmacy was the only pharmacy in town that serviced around easily did around 15 scripts a week, people started lining up at least an hour before we opened. Personally, I work 12-hour night shifts, so I wait because I literally have nothing better to do than get to my bed. My other choices would be to stay at work or go spend money I don't have at a Walmart somewhere. I live 10 miles out of town, so going home and coming back is out of the question. They are in line early because they need to be somewhere on time and hope that they will not wait so long if they are among the first to be there. They are anxious to get their medication. They are nearly out, completely out, and this is stressing them, especially if insurance has been less than helpful or supply limited. They have a sick kid, partner, or other at home and they want to get medication for them ASAP. They need advice from the pharmacist and figure if they are there early you won't be so overwhelmed. To suggest they are lining up for shits and giggles and that this annoys you shows you are burnt out and need to consider other career options. Not take it out on them. Just got out of pharmacy, wasn't burnt, kind of miss it. But those patients that have somewhere to be and are respectful, fine, no worries. But people who are on top of being on time, generally speaking, are on schedule with their medications and not waiting until the last minute for refills and not showing up when things aren't done at open and expecting miracles. I think this post is for those people who show up early and expect us to bend over backwards and refill an early C2 and will be cursing us out at 8 a.m. if we don't comply. I have no issue with people lining up as long as they are patient that I am one person helping 3 lanes including drive-through. It's rarely the kind people who have somewhere to be or those nervous that give us trouble in the morning. I bet those people brought a magazine or chair. But this rant is for those people who show up at open and their doctor hasn't sent the med order yet and somehow it's our fault. Or they didn't wait for the text that it's not ready and throw a fit when they have to wait for me to help everyone in line then go back and fill the medication. I had some one day they really needed their control O. The extra day early so coincide with their other say I told them we always give 1D. I early anyways they said but don't you understand I need it to coincide with my morphine or same day fill don't you understand? I say yes but you get it a day early every month so that is approximately 12 days worth early by end of the year. Just pick up the morphine 1 day late and you should be fine. He shut up.